Mind Over Money, Rewire Your Brain for Wealth by Imperium Audiobooks. There's a kind of wealth that can't be counted yet, only felt. It's in the confidence you carry, the choices you make, the discipline you hold when no one's watching. It's the wealth of mindset, the one that quietly builds the foundation for everything else. Because here's the truth. Money doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your mind. You don't become wealthy by accident. You become wealthy by design, by rewiring your thoughts, beliefs, and habits around money, value, and growth. And that's exactly what this journey will do. Welcome to Mind Over Money, Rewire Your Brain for Wealth. This is not just another audiobook about getting rich. This is a psychological blueprint for how high performers, investors, and creators think about money differently. It's about mastering your inner world, because until you do, no amount of strategy will ever sustain real success. You see, the broke and the wealthy don't live in different worlds. They live in different mindsets. The broke chase money. The wealthy attract it. The broke spend emotionally. The wealthy invest intentionally. The broke think in moments. The wealthy think in decades. Money, at its core, is a mirror. It reflects how you see yourself, what you believe you deserve, and how much control you have over your emotions. That's why people can win the lottery and lose it all within years, because they never changed the programming that made them broke in the first place. This book isn't here to give you overnight hacks. It's here to give you a lifelong shift, a shift in how you think, act, and respond when it comes to creating, keeping, and multiplying wealth. Each chapter you're about to hear is a lesson, a bridge between the psychology of abundance and the discipline of wealth. You'll learn how to break the subconscious beliefs that sabotage your growth. You'll understand how emotional control translates directly to financial control. You'll master habits that turn intention into income and income into freedom. Because true wealth isn't loud. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you have options. It's waking up in peace because your money works for you, not against you. It's living in abundance, not just financially, but mentally and spiritually. By the time you reach the final chapter, you'll have something more valuable than money itself: clarity. Clarity on what drives you. Clarity on what's been holding you back. And clarity on how to build a future where money flows through your life as a tool, not a trap. You learn to stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, how do I become the kind of person who attracts, manages, and multiplies it with ease? Because success doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from who you become daily. This isn't about hustling harder. It's about thinking smarter. It's about mastering your impulses, upgrading your focus, and aligning your emotions with your ambitions. We're about to build a wealth mindset from the inside out. Not one built on pressure or perfection, but one built on peace, patience, and power. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever wondered why you can't seem to break through financially no matter how hard you work, this book is your mirror, your map, and your reset. By the end of this journey, you'll understand what the truly wealthy already know. That financial freedom is not about chasing money. It's about mastering yourself. Welcome to the beginning of your rewire. Welcome to the Mind of Wealth. Welcome to Mind Over Money. Chapter 1. The Wealth Programming, Breaking Free from Scarcity Thinking. Every one of us was born into a money story we didn't write. For some, it was the sound of parents arguing over bills late at night. For others, it was hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that. And without realizing it, those early words, fears, and emotions became our programming, the silent script that still runs our financial behavior today. Scarcity isn't just a lack of money. It's a mindset of limitation. It's believing that there's never enough, not enough opportunity, not enough luck, not enough time, not enough of you. And when you live with that mindset long enough, it becomes the lens through which you see everything. That's why people who think poor stay poor, not because they're lazy, but because their mind keeps replaying the same script. Their habits, their decisions, even their emotions all obey that internal story. And until you rewrite that story, no amount of effort will ever truly change your outcome. The wealthiest people you'll ever meet weren't born with more intelligence. They were born or became aware. Aware that their thoughts shape their financial reality. Aware that fear and greed are the twin killers of prosperity. Aware that every limitation begins as a belief, and every belief can be reprogrammed. Here's the hard truth. Your brain is wired to protect you, not to prosper you. It remembers pain more than possibility. It avoids risk more than it seeks reward. So when you decide to grow, to invest, to take a chance, your brain screams, be careful. Not because you're wrong, but because you're stepping outside your comfort zone. But wealth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in clarity, courage, and controlled discomfort. You see, the difference between a broke mindset and a wealthy one isn't how much they earn. It's how they think when money leaves. The broke panic. The wealthy plan. The broke feels scarcity. The wealthy feel strategy. When something goes wrong financially, one sees loss, the other sees leverage. One retreats, the other recalibrates. So how do you break this programming? You start with awareness. Ask yourself, what are the first thoughts that come to mind when you hear the word money? Do you feel tension? Do you feel guilt, fear, or excitement? Because whatever emotion you attach to money, that's the emotion you'll attract back from it. You can't build wealth while secretly resenting it. You can't attract abundance while believing it's wrong to have it. You can't grow financially while emotionally identifying with lack. If deep down you believe wealth is selfish, you'll unconsciously sabotage it. If you think money changes people, you'll avoid becoming one of those people. But here's the truth. Money doesn't change you. It reveals you. It amplifies what's already within. If you're kind, wealth will make you generous. If you're greedy, wealth will magnify that too. So before you chase more money, chase more awareness. Break free from the old beliefs that tell you you're not enough. You're not your past. You are not your family's financial story. You are not your old mistakes. You are the thinker of your thoughts and the architect of your new reality. Rewiring begins with language. Start replacing scarcity thoughts with empowered ones. I can't afford this becomes, how can I afford this wisely? I don't have enough becomes, I'm learning how to manage what I have better. It's too risky becomes, I'm researching how to take smart, calculated risks. Language reprograms the brain. Repetition rewires belief. And belief shapes your destiny. Because the truth is, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you carry the energy of fear, you'll find reasons to be afraid. If you carry the energy of abundance, you'll find doors opening that others don't even see. To master money, you must first master meaning. And that starts by questioning every belief that tells you you're not capable of more. Today, challenge your mental autopilot. Catch yourself when you speak or think in lack. Every time your mind says, I can't, whisper back, watch me. You're not meant to live in survival mode forever. You are meant to rise, rebuild, and rewrite your money story with strength and self-awareness. Because once your mind stops seeing money as something scarce and starts seeing it as energy, a tool, a mirror of your growth, that's when the real transformation begins. This is the first step. You've started to rewire. You've unplugged from scarcity. And from this point forward, your financial journey will never be the same. Chapter 2. Emotional Currency. Mastering the feelings that control your finances. Money doesn't just live in your wallet. It lives in your emotions. It hides in your fears, fuels your ambitions, and sometimes controls your decisions more than logic ever could. Think about it. Every financial decision you've ever made was driven not by numbers, but by feelings. You didn't buy that thing because it was practical. You bought it because, for a moment, it made you feel powerful, respected, or seen. You didn't hold back from investing because it was a bad idea. You held back because your brain whispered, what if you lose? We talk about money as if it's math, but it's really emotion wearing a suit. You don't need to be a genius to build wealth. You need to master how your emotions react to money, because your emotional reactions are the hidden thermostat of your financial life. No matter how much you earn, your results will always return to the level of your emotional control. Let's be honest. You already know what you should be doing. You know saving matters. You know impulse spending sets you back. You know consistency beats intensity. But still, you find yourself repeating the same patterns, buying the same temporary happiness, chasing the same short-lived comfort. Why? Because emotion always wins over education. Until you learn to feel differently about money, you'll never act differently around it. Let's take fear, for example. Fear is the oldest and most expensive emotion in existence. It's what stops you from starting that business. It's what keeps your money sitting idle instead of growing. It's what convinces you to play small when life keeps handing you the chance to go big. Fear doesn't speak in full sentences, it whispers in doubt. And if you let those whispers grow, they become your reality. But when you start identifying the emotional pattern, something powerful happens. You begin to pause. And in that pause lies your power. Every wealthy person you admire has one trait in common. They've trained themselves to pause before reacting emotionally. They don't make decisions from panic or excitement. They make them from clarity. Because clarity is calm, and calm is profitable. Now think about guilt. How often have you felt guilty for wanting more? For upgrading your life? For saying no to people who expect your yes every time? Guilt is emotional sabotage disguised as virtue. It tells you that by choosing abundance, you're abandoning humility. But that's a lie. You're not selfish for wanting freedom. You're responsible for creating it. You're not greedy for desiring wealth. You're wise for understanding that money amplifies your capacity to serve, give, and build. The truth is, most people don't sabotage their wealth because they're ignorant. They sabotage it because they're emotionally addicted to patterns that feel familiar. Stress feels normal. Scarcity feels safe. Struggle feels like home. That's why emotional mastery isn't a bonus skill. It's the foundation of lasting success. Start observing how emotions move through you when money is involved. Do you tense up when you think about your bills? Do you feel excitement when you spend, then regret right after? Do you avoid checking your balance because you don't want to face reality? Each of these reactions is emotional data, feedback from your subconscious. It's telling you what stories are still unhealed. And when you heal the story, you heal the behavior. Here's how you start. Step 1. Name the emotion. When you feel anxious about money, say it out loud. I feel fear. This instantly moves the emotion from subconscious chaos into conscious clarity. Step 2. Identify the trigger. Was a low balance? A large expense? Someone else's success? Naming the trigger helps you see patterns that you can later reprogram. Step 3. Choose the opposite response. Instead of reacting impulsively, spending, panicking, freezing, respond with intention. If you feel fear, do one small thing that builds courage. Review your plan, make a micro investment, or learn something new. Small moves build emotional muscle. Emotional intelligence is wealth intelligence. The stronger your EQ, the greater your ability to handle pressure, loss, and risk. And those are the arenas where real wealth is created. People who panic sell when a market drops lose not because of bad timing, but because of emotional fragility. People who hold steady during chaos win not because of luck, but because of emotional stability. Control your emotions, and you control your results. Now, this isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about translating them. When fear shows up, it's not a signal to stop. It's a sign to prepare. When greed shows up, it's not a signal to chase. It's a sign to pause. When guilt shows up, it's not a punishment. It's a reminder that you're stepping into a higher standard of self-worth. This emotional awareness turns chaos into clarity. It makes you see that wealth isn't about chasing numbers. It's about regulating energy. Because money is just energy in motion, flowing toward those who can hold it with calm confidence. You are that person now. The calm investor, the centered creator, the emotionally grounded achiever. You don't chase, you attract. You don't panic, you plan. You don't react, you respond. And the world begins to respond back, with opportunities, with abundance, with peace. Emotional mastery is the invisible currency behind every fortune. Once you learn to hold your emotions steady, your wealth will rise to meet that same vibration. Because the wealth you seek is waiting, not in your account, but in your alignment. Chapter 3. The Subconscious Wallet. How hidden beliefs shape your financial reality. Every decision you make about money, every risk you take, every opportunity you ignore, every spending habit you justify, comes from one invisible place, your subconscious wallet. It's the unseen emotional and psychological account that decides what you deserve, what feels safe, and how much success you can handle before you start self-sabotaging. Your conscious mind sets the goals. Your subconscious mind sets the limits. You may say, I want to earn more, but if your subconscious believes wealth equals greed, you'll never allow yourself to truly have it. You may affirm, I'm ready for abundance, but if deep down you believe money corrupts or creates distance from loved ones, your subconscious will quietly reject it. And no matter how hard you work, life will keep mirroring back your internal settings, because the subconscious doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your beliefs. Let's go back for a second, back to the first time you ever heard someone talk about money. Maybe it was at the dinner table, maybe it was in arguments, maybe it was whispered like a secret. Whatever the tone was, fearful, angry, dismissive, it became a part of your emotional DNA. If you grew up watching people struggle, you might have unconsciously tied effort to exhaustion. If you heard, we're not like them, you might have linked wealth to separation or shame. If you were praised for making do, you might have built an identity around scarcity. The problem is, these beliefs don't announce themselves. They don't say, hey, I'm here to sabotage your goals. They hide behind rationality. They disguise themselves as realism, as caution, as being smart. But in truth, they are the emotional ceiling keeping your financial thermostat fixed where it's always been. The subconscious wallet has one rule. It always returns you to your comfort zone. This is why people who win the lottery often lose everything within years. It's why entrepreneurs who grow too fast burn out or make self-destructive decisions. Their external wealth outpaced their internal worthiness. They didn't expand their identity to hold the level of abundance they reached. Here's the paradox of success. You don't grow wealth by chasing money. You grow wealth by expanding who you believe yourself to be. If your subconscious believes you're a $2,000 a month person, you'll subconsciously reject $10,000 opportunities. If it believes wealth is for others, you'll find excuses to stay comfortable. If it believes rich people are lonely, you'll never let yourself become one, no matter how hard you try. So how do you rewire that? You don't fight the subconscious, you retrain it. The first step is awareness. Catch the thoughts that leak out when you think about success. Do you hear an inner voice that says, that's too much, or that's not for people like me? That's the subconscious wallet speaking. The second step is replacement. Once you spot the lie, replace it with a truth that feels slightly uncomfortable but possible. If your mind says, I can't handle that much money, replace it with, I'm learning to manage greater levels of abundance with wisdom. The key is gentle persistence, not force. The subconscious learns through repetition, not reasoning. The third step is visual reinforcement. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only responds to emotional intensity. So visualize yourself already living the reality you want. See yourself making wise decisions, managing wealth calmly, feeling at peace with prosperity. Don't chase the money. Embody the person who attracts it naturally. Here's what most people get wrong. They try to earn more without becoming more. They set goals without upgrading the identity that's supposed to reach them. That's like installing $1 million engine in a car that's still running on old fuel. You have to reprogram the identity that drives the action. Wealth consciousness isn't just a mindset. It's an energetic alignment. It's when your beliefs, habits, and emotions all flow in the same direction toward abundance. And once that happens, wealth stops feeling like something you're chasing. It becomes something you naturally magnetize. Let's make this real. Think about someone you know who always seems lucky with money. Opportunities just happen to show up. Deals somehow work out. They're not luckier, they're aligned. Their subconscious wallet is set to receive. They don't see wealth as foreign, they see it as familiar. And the universe always matches what feels familiar. If scarcity feels like home, you'll always find ways to return to it. If abundance feels like home, you'll always find ways to expand it. The goal isn't to force success, it's to normalize it. Normalize saving. Normalize investing. Normalize earning more than you need and giving without fear. Normalize speaking positively about money, not with shame, but with gratitude. Every belief you rewrite adds more space to your subconscious wallet. And that expanded space becomes the vessel that holds more opportunity, more income, and more freedom. From this point forward, start catching yourself every time you talk about money. Are you speaking scarcity or abundance? Are you repeating old fears or building new truths? Every word you speak carries a vibration, and that vibration either contracts or expands your wallet. Your subconscious doesn't care what you want. It only believes what you rehearse. So rehearse wealth daily, not just in affirmations, but in actions. Treat yourself like the person you want to become, and watch your external reality rise to match it. You're not just rewiring your mind, you're rewriting your identity. And once that shift happens, wealth no longer feels like a pursuit. It feels like a reflection of who you've become. Chapter 4. Financial Flow, Building Wealth Without Losing Your Peace. There's a difference between making money and living wealthy. Many people master the first, but fail miserably at the second. They build the income, the business, the success, but lose their peace in the process. They confuse movement with momentum and burn out, trying to keep up with a pace that was never sustainable to begin with. True wealth isn't found in the numbers on your account. It's found in your ability to remain calm, clear, and centered no matter what those numbers say. Because if you lose your peace chasing prosperity, you've already traded your greatest currency for the cheapest one. We live in a world that glorifies the grind. You're told that if you're not exhausted, you're not serious enough. If you're not working 18-hour days, you don't want it bad enough. But that's not mastery. That's slavery disguised as ambition. We weren't born to chase life. We were born to flow with it. Financial flow is the art of creating abundance without chaos. It's understanding that your wealth expands not through force, but through alignment, when your goals, habits, and energy move in rhythm instead of resistance. It's when you stop fighting money and start partnering with it. Think about water for a moment. It doesn't struggle to reach the ocean. It doesn't force its way through rock. It simply finds another path. And yet, nothing can resist it for long. That's how money works when you move and flow. Calm, adaptable, unstoppable. The problem is, most people operate from tension. They grip so tightly to the idea of success that they strangle their creativity. They chase every opportunity, say yes to every demand, and drown in commitments that drain more energy than they give. Eventually, they confuse exhaustion for progress. But peace is the real productivity. When your mind is still, your vision is clear. When your heart is calm, your decisions are wise. And when your energy is aligned, money flows where it's supposed to, toward purpose, not pressure. Financial flow begins with awareness. Ask yourself, what's your relationship with earning? Do you feel like you have to grind endlessly to deserve success? Do you carry guilt when you rest? If so, your system is operating on struggle mode. Struggle mode is built on the belief that abundance is earned through suffering. Flow mode, on the other hand, understands that abundance is allowed through clarity. When you're in flow, you still work, but it's different. You work from inspiration, not desperation. You're not chasing validation, you're channeling value. You're not running from lack, you're moving toward purpose. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is that you must choose between peace and power. The truth? Peace is power. When your nervous system is calm, your creativity spikes. When your emotions are stable, your decisions are precise. And when you're centered, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. Let's get practical. Here are a few ways to align with financial flow. 1. Create intentional rhythm. Set times to work, times to rest, and honor both equally. Wealth is not built by intensity, it's built by consistency. When you learn to rest without guilt, your recovery fuels your next season of growth. 2. Simplify your systems. Overcomplication is the enemy of peace. Automate what you can: savings, investments, tracking. The less you manually manage, the more energy you free for creativity and growth. 3. Operate from purpose, not pressure. Every time you feel anxious about money, pause and ask, is this aligned with my purpose or my fear? If it's fear, it will drain you. If it's purpose, it will expand you. For Let go of comparison. Nothing kills flow faster than trying to match someone else's pace. You don't see rivers competing for speed. You have your own current, your own rhythm. Stay in it, and you'll reach your destination effortlessly. 5. Redefine enough. Contentment isn't complacency. It's clarity. When you know what enough truly looks like for you, everything beyond that becomes overflow, and overflow is where generosity and freedom thrive. See, the reason people chase endlessly is because they never stop to define why they're chasing. They mistake motion for meaning. But real financial peace comes when you align your money with your mission. When your wealth has a purpose bigger than your ego, it grows with grace. When it's only about proving something, it grows with pain. The richest people aren't those who have the most, but those who need the least to feel full. They've mastered the inner balance, the rhythm between ambition and gratitude. And that's what financial flow really is, not stillness, but synchrony. It's when your drive and your peace dance together instead of collide. Imagine waking up without the panic of survival mode. Imagine creating, earning, and building from a place of excitement instead of fear. Imagine money flowing to you because you've stopped blocking it with stress and scarcity. That's not fantasy. That's the reward of emotional and energetic alignment. The truth is, money wants movement. It doesn't want to sit still. It flows toward the calm, the clear, the confident. The more grounded you are, the more naturally it finds you. You're not meant to chase money until you collapse. You're meant to become the person money flows toward effortlessly because you've mastered the rhythm between hustle and harmony. Remember this. Success earned in chaos is fragile. Success built in peace is permanent. So, choose the kind that lasts. Choose financial flow. Choose calm creation over chaotic chasing. Because when you build wealth from peace, it multiplies, not just in your bank account, but in your mind, your relationships, and your life. You don't have to lose yourself to win in life. When you move in flow, you realize you were never meant to fight the current. You were meant to become it. Chapter 5. Energy Economics, the hidden currency of focus and time. Every day, people obsess over how to earn more money, but very few ever ask the question that truly determines their wealth. How do I spend my energy? You can lose money and make it back. You can lose time and still rebuild your routine. But once your energy is drained, once your mind is scattered and your focus divided, your potential starts to decay silently. Money follows energy. Every currency, every opportunity, every connection in your life flows in proportion to the quality of your energy and focus. That's why two people can work the same job, have the same hours, and live in the same city. Yet one builds a fortune while the other barely survives. The difference isn't luck or talent. It's energetic management. Energy economics is the study of how you allocate your most valuable resource, your attention. It's the invisible accounting system that determines your results long before your bank balance ever changes. Look closely at your life right now. Where does your attention go first thing in the morning? Do you wake up with direction or distraction? Do you protect your mental energy or spend it carelessly scrolling, worrying, reacting? Because every morning, you start with a full emotional wallet, and the way you spend it determines how wealthy or empty your day becomes. See, there's a direct connection between focus and fortune. When your attention is fractured, your opportunities are too. But when your energy is aligned, your results compound like interest. The people who achieve the most aren't necessarily smarter. They've simply learned that energy is a form of wealth, and they guard it like a treasure. Let's break it down. Your day is a marketplace. Everything and everyone around you is bidding for your energy. Social media, negativity, obligations, noise, they all want a piece of your focus. And if you don't know your value, you'll sell it cheap. But high performers think differently. They treat their energy like investors treat capital, with strategy. They ask, what gives me the highest return on my effort? Then they double down on that. That's energy economics, knowing that every thought, every conversation, every habit is either building your wealth or burning your reserves. Let's talk about leaks. Most people lose more energy through leaks than through lack. A leak is any pattern that drains you without giving anything meaningful back. Overthinking, arguing, people-pleasing, trying to prove your worth, even working on goals that don't align with your real purpose. That's an energy leak disguised as ambition. You can't create abundance from depletion. When your energy is fragmented, your focus becomes reactive, not creative. And creativity is the real multiplier of wealth. The secret is conservation. Just like money, your energy grows when you invest it intentionally. 1. Invest your energy where it multiplies. Do more of what puts you in flow, where hours feel like minutes and effort feels effortless. That's where your genius hides. And genius is the world's highest return investment. 2. Audit your emotional expenses. Notice what or who consistently leaves you drained. Then ask, is this connection or obligation? Cut what costs you more peace than it's worth. 3. Protect your mental real estate. Not every battle deserves your reaction. You don't owe an opinion to everything that provokes you. The strongest people are not those who fight every noise. They're the ones who stay calm enough to keep building while others are distracted. 4. Design an energy budget. Each day, list 3 priorities that matter most. Then give them your peak energy hours. Don't spend your best energy on your smallest tasks. Reserve your mental prime time for what moves your life forward. 5. Recharge without guilt. Rest is not laziness. It's maintenance. A tired mind spends poorly. A rested one multiplies wisely. You can't give your best if you're constantly running on fumes. Energy is the seed. Money is the fruit. If you want bigger fruit, you have to nurture the soil. When you start honoring your energy, something profound happens. Your focus deepens, your creativity expands, and your decision-making sharpens. Opportunities begin to sense your clarity and gravitate toward you. Because the world responds not to effort alone, but to vibration. You attract what you radiate. If your energy says chaos, you'll meet confusion. If your energy says confidence, you'll meet alignment. If your energy says clarity, you'll meet abundance. This is why mastering your energy is wealth strategy at the highest level. It's not about how hard you push, it's about how purely you channel your focus. Think of every action as an investment. Are you spending your energy reacting to life or directing it toward what truly matters? Are you spreading your focus across 1,000 little things or going all in on the few that change everything? Energy doesn't lie. Your results are a direct reflection of how you spend it. So from today, protect your focus like it's your fortune, because it is. Stop leaking energy into fear, gossip, doubt, and digital noise. Start reinvesting it into creation, growth, and stillness. Remember, your energy tells the universe what level of wealth you're ready to receive. The calmer you are, the clearer the signal. The clearer the signal, the greater the flow. And that's when life starts giving you more, not because you forced it, but because you finally learned to manage the most powerful economy there is. The economy of your mind. You are your greatest investment. Guard your energy. Spend it wisely. And watch your wealth multiply in every direction. Not from exhaustion, but from expansion. Chapter 6. Wealth Wiring. The Neuroscience of Lasting Prosperity. Money doesn't just live in your wallet, it lives in your mind. Every financial result you've ever experienced, every opportunity you've seized or missed, was first filtered through one thing: your neural wiring. Before wealth appears in your life, it has to appear in your brain. You see, success isn't luck. It's neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on your consistent thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. That means your financial life right now is simply a reflection of your mental conditioning up to this point. Most people think they need new strategies to get rich, but what they truly need is a new operating system. Because you can't install millionaire results on a scarcity mindset. Let's break this down. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every time you think about money, it runs a pattern, a sequence of beliefs and emotions that determine what you'll notice, how you'll act, and ultimately, what you'll attract. If you believe money is hard to get, your brain will subconsciously steer you away from opportunities that look too easy. If you believe rich people are greedy, your brain will self-sabotage every time you start to succeed because it doesn't want you to become what it secretly despises. This is the hidden war between logic and wiring. You might consciously want wealth, but if your subconscious still sees abundance as dangerous or unworthy, you'll keep pulling yourself back to the level your nervous system feels safe at. You're not lazy. You're not unlucky. You're simply wired to stay within the emotional range your brain has labeled safe. To go beyond that range, you have to reprogram your identity, not just your habits. Let's get scientific for a moment. Inside your brain are neural pathways, highways of electrical signals that represent your repeated thoughts and behaviors. The more you repeat something, the thicker that highway becomes, and the easier it is for your brain to travel that route again. That's why negative self-talk feels so automatic. You've simply practiced it. But here's the good news. The same neuroplasticity that built your scarcity wiring can also rebuild it. You can literally sculpt a new financial reality by training your brain to recognize abundance as normal, not foreign. The process begins with awareness. Step 1. Expose the limiting circuit. Write down every belief you hold about money, wealth, success, and people who have it. Be brutally honest. Ask yourself, where did I learn this? Most of your beliefs about money aren't even yours. They're inherited. Maybe you grew up hearing, we can't afford that, or money changes people, or you have to work yourself to death to make it. These phrases, repeated enough times, wired your subconscious like a script. But the moment you recognize the script, you take your power back. Because you can't change what you don't first notice. Step 2. Replace the scarcity code. Your brain doesn't delete old patterns. It overwrites them through repetition. So you have to install new scripts that align with abundance. For example, money flows to me easily because I create value effortlessly. The more wealth I attract, the more people I can help. Abundance is my natural state. The more you repeat these phrases with emotion and visualization, the more your neurons start forming new connections that support them. Over time, those connections become dominant, and what used to feel impossible starts to feel normal. Step 3. Anchor abundance in emotion. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic, it responds to feeling. That's why affirmations only work when you embody them emotionally. When you say, I am wealthy, you must feel that wealth, not in the future tense, but now. Imagine what it looks like, smells like, feels like. Your brain can't tell the difference between real experience and vividly imagined experience. And that's the key to rewiring. Every emotional rehearsal is a deposit in your neural bank account. Each time you feel gratitude, peace, and confidence about money, you strengthen the pathways that attract more of it. Step 4. Act in alignment. Thoughts create signals, but actions solidify them. When you make financial decisions from abundance instead of fear, even small ones, you reinforce your new identity. Investing in your growth. Tithing with gratitude. Treating yourself well without guilt. Each action tells your brain, this is who we are now. And your brain, being obedient, begins to restructure itself around that truth. Here's the fascinating part. Your brain releases chemicals that match your financial emotions. Scarcity thinking triggers cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones that narrow your perception and make you hyper-focused on survival. Abundance thinking, however, releases dopamine and serotonin, the success chemicals that expand creativity, calm, and problem-solving. That's why calm people make better financial decisions than desperate ones. The biology of abundance is clarity, and clarity is the foundation of prosperity. Let's look at this practically. Have you ever noticed that when you're broke or anxious, even small risks feel terrifying? That's your nervous system in survival mode. But when you're grounded and secure, your mind opens up to possibilities. Ideas start flowing, connections seem effortless, and solutions appear. That's your neural wealth network activating. See, wealth is less about effort and more about state. The right mental state allows you to see opportunities that others overlook. It allows you to stay calm when markets crash, to think long-term when everyone else is panicking, and to move strategically instead of emotionally. You can't outwork a nervous system that's programmed for scarcity, but you can retrain it for prosperity. That's what wealth wiring is all about, turning abundance into your default mental operating system. So here's your daily practice. Morning calibration. Before checking your phone, close your eyes. Visualize your ideal financial reality, not as a dream, but as a memory. See yourself already there. Feel it. Own it. Midday awareness. Notice your emotional state when you talk or think about money. If tension arises, breathe deeply and shift your body posture. Confidence starts with physiology. Evening gratitude audit. List 3 ways abundance showed up today, even if it was small. Gratitude trains your brain to keep finding evidence of wealth, and what you focus on expands. Over time, these small rituals rewire your mind for prosperity permanently. And that's when something powerful happens. Money stops being something you chase. It becomes something you magnetize. You don't hustle for wealth anymore. You hold the vibration of it. Your brain and body become synchronized with abundance, and opportunities naturally align. Because the truth is, your external wealth is only ever a reflection of your internal wiring. Change the circuit, and the current of prosperity flows automatically. Wealth is not built from hustle. It's built from harmony between your thoughts, emotions, and identity. Train your brain to feel safe in abundance, and it will stop sabotaging your growth. Train it to expect wealth, and it will start creating it. You're not rewiring your brain for money. You are rewiring it for freedom, and money just happens to be one of its natural expressions. Chapter 7. The Magnetic Mind. How to Attract Wealth Without Chase. We've all been taught to chase success, to grind, to hustle, to push harder until something breaks. And most times, it's us who break first. But what if the secret to wealth wasn't in the chase, but in the pull? What if you could create a mental and emotional field so aligned, so charged with purpose and belief, that opportunities, people, and resources began moving toward you, without the burnout, without the noise, without the constant feeling of not enough? That's the magnetic mind. It's not fantasy. It's not just think positive. It's psychology, energy, and awareness, aligned toward a singular outcome: effortless attraction. You see, money isn't loyal to struggle. It's loyal to clarity. It flows toward those who know what they want, act with confidence, and vibrate at the level of certainty, not desperation. Desperation repels wealth. Clarity attracts it. Think of the last time you met someone who truly radiated purpose. They didn't have to convince you to trust them. You could feel it. Their presence had weight. Their words carried conviction. That's the energy of attraction, and your mind can be trained to operate the same way with money. Wealth attraction begins with identity. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you are. When you think like someone who's constantly trying to get money, you unconsciously signal lack. When you embody someone who creates value, who moves with intention and generosity, you emit abundance, and the universe, or if you prefer, your environment, responds accordingly. The magnetic mind understands this. Money is energy. Energy is movement, and movement follows alignment. Let's get practical. You attract wealth when your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate at the same frequency. That means no more thinking rich, but feeling broke. No more acting confident, but doubting your worth in silence. No more saying, "I deserve success," while secretly fearing you'll mess it up. That internal misalignment is like static interference. The signal gets weak, and your results stay inconsistent. When you clear that noise, when your belief and behavior match, attraction becomes natural. So how do you become magnetic to money? 1. Cultivate emotional equilibrium. Wealth gravitates toward those who stay grounded in chaos. When markets crash, when deals fall through, when plans go sideways, the magnetic mind doesn't panic. It observes, because emotion is frequency. Fear lowers your vibration and clouds your judgment. Calmness expands your perception, and keeps you creative. The universe, or if you prefer, your subconscious mind, reads emotional energy like a frequency scanner. When you project fear, it sends more situations that match it. When you radiate peace, it delivers options that sustain it. Train yourself to hold peace in uncertainty, and you'll find that wealth begins to seek you out. 2. Embody worthiness daily. You don't attract what you wish for. You attract what you believe you deserve. The broke mindset asks, "Can I afford this?" The wealthy mindset asks, "How can I create this?" Every time you make a decision from scarcity, you confirm to your brain that lack is your normal. Every time you make a decision from possibility, you reinforce abundance. You can't fake this. You feel worthiness or you don't. So build it through daily acts of self-respect. Wake up and move with purpose. Keep your word to yourself. Handle small amounts of money with the same discipline you'd handle millions. Worthiness isn't built by saying affirmations. It's built by living in alignment with your potential. 3. Think in fields, not figures. Money doesn't just come from your job. It comes from fields of value, networks, ideas, creativity, reputation, energy. The magnetic mind doesn't obsess over numbers. It expands its field. When you help people solve problems or bring light where others bring noise, you grow your energetic field, and money is drawn into it naturally. Instead of asking, "Where will my next income come from?" ask, "What value am I radiating into the world today?" That question shifts you from chasing results to generating resonance. And resonance is irresistible. 4. Detach from the outcome. This might be the hardest step, but it's the most powerful. When you're obsessed with when something will happen, you're telling your subconscious that it hasn't happened yet. That creates friction. When you detach, not out of apathy, but faith, you move from a place of trust, not tension. Trust is magnetic. Tension repels. You'll notice that the biggest breakthroughs in your life often came when you stopped forcing things, when you simply aligned, acted, and allowed. Detachment is not giving up. It's giving room for things to unfold in your favor. 5. Move like it's already yours. Here's where most people fail. They visualize success, but move like they're still waiting for permission. But the magnetic mind acts as if. You don't need to see results to move like a winner. You need to move like a winner to see results. That's how faith turns into manifestation, and manifestation turns into momentum. Your tone of voice, your posture, your energy, they all signal to the world what level you're operating on. When you move with assurance, the world adjusts to accommodate your standard. Here's the deeper truth. You can't outwork misalignment. You can't grind your way into peace, but you can align your way into flow. And when you're in flow, life begins to respond to you instead of resisting you. You start to meet the right people at the right time. Ideas spark out of nowhere. Doors open without you knocking. That's not magic. That's magnetism. Because the magnetic mind is not chasing. It's choosing. It's tuned in, focused, confident, and grateful. It knows that money is not a finish line. It's feedback. Feedback that you're growing, that you're contributing, that you're aligned. So from now on, don't chase. Don't hustle from fear. Don't beg opportunities to notice you. Radiate. Radiate gratitude. Radiate confidence. Radiate value. And you'll see, the world can't help but mirror that energy back to you, multiplied. Because when your mind is magnetic, wealth is inevitable. You don't need to force it. You simply become it. And that is the real power, not chasing the bag, but becoming the magnet. Chapter 8. The Emotion of Wealth, Using Gratitude, Peace, and Purpose as Currency. We've been conditioned to think of wealth as something purely material. Numbers in a bank account, properties, cars, assets. But here's the truth that most people never learn until it's too late. Wealth is emotional first, financial second. You don't build true wealth by stacking numbers. You build it by stacking states. Peace, gratitude, purpose. Because if your internal world is chaotic, no amount of external gain will ever make you feel rich. And if your inner world is calm, even modest success will feel like abundance. Let's be honest. What good is money if you can't sleep? What good is success if your peace is always on edge? What good is achievement if gratitude never finds you? See, wealth is not about how much you own, but how deeply you feel. And emotions are the real currency of life. The wealthy aren't just rich in dollars. They're rich in discipline, rich in vision, rich in gratitude. They've learned something the world rarely teaches, that emotions determine decisions, and decisions determine destiny. So let's explore the three emotional currencies that sustain lasting prosperity: gratitude, peace, and purpose. 1. Gratitude, the multiplier of wealth. Gratitude isn't just a virtue. It's a wealth engine. When you practice gratitude, you train your brain to notice what's working instead of what's missing. That shift in focus rewires your perception from scarcity to abundance. And abundance is what multiplies. Think about this. People who constantly complain can't hold money for long, even if they make a lot. Their attention is always on lack. Their energy leaks into frustration and comparison. But people who live in gratitude create expansion effortlessly. They see every opportunity as a gift, every challenge as feedback, every moment as a lesson. That mindset creates a magnetism that draws more reasons to be grateful. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you stop struggling while you strive. You stop moving from fear of losing and start moving from love of creating. Each morning, take a moment to list 3 things you're deeply grateful for and feel it. Let it sink in. The feeling itself is wealth. Because when you live in appreciation, you move differently. You speak differently. You make decisions from trust, not tension. That's the secret behind long-term abundance. Emotional stability built on gratitude. 2. Peace, the silent power. Peace is the most underrated form of wealth. You can't buy it, fake it, or borrow it. You either build it or you don't have it. Look at the world. Everyone is busy chasing more, yet fewer people are at peace. They earn more, but enjoy less. They upgrade their houses, but downgrade their happiness. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of power within problems. It's knowing that no matter what happens outside, you control your inside. It's waking up calm, even when the world is noisy. You want to know what real financial freedom feels like? It's peace, the ability to breathe without worry, to think clearly under pressure, to act without panic. When you operate from peace, you don't make desperate moves. You make deliberate ones. You see, fear makes you impulsive, but peace makes you intelligent. That's why peace is not just emotional luxury. It's a financial advantage. When you're calm, you negotiate better. You invest smarter. You trust your intuition. You stop reacting to the market and start mastering it. So cultivate peace like a ritual. Meditate, walk, breathe, spend time in silence. Protect your energy as fiercely as your money. Because once you lose peace, everything you build loses meaning. 3. Purpose, the infinite currency. Purpose is what gives wealth its soul. Without purpose, success feels empty. You can have all the money in the world, but if you wake up with no direction, it becomes a burden, not a blessing. Purpose is your emotional compass. It keeps your wealth aligned with meaning. See, money amplifies who you already are. If you're lost, money multiplies confusion. If you're driven, money multiplies impact. Purpose gives your wealth direction. It turns earnings into empowerment. When you work with purpose, you don't burn out, you burn bright. You don't ask, how much can I get? You ask, how much can I give? And ironically, that's when the universe gives you more. Purpose transforms income into influence. It gives every dollar a mission. It turns business into legacy. So if you ever feel stuck, don't ask, what's missing? Ask, who can I serve? What value can I create that makes the world richer because I exist? Purpose doesn't just make you successful. It makes you significant. Emotional wealth practices. To build emotional wealth, you don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to recalibrate your focus. Here's how. Morning gratitude flow. Start each day listing 3 things you appreciate deeply. Feel them fully. This primes your mind for abundance. Peace pause. Every few hours, take 60 seconds to breathe deeply and reconnect with calm. Train your body to stay grounded, no matter what's happening externally. Purpose check. Before major decisions, ask, does this align with my purpose or just my ego? The answer will save you years of wasted effort. These habits aren't just rituals, they're rewiring tools. They shift your emotional frequency, and when your emotions align, your wealth follows. Here's the final truth. The ultimate goal isn't to be rich, it's to feel rich. To live from a place of overflow instead of overwork. To enjoy every win, every step, every moment, because peace and gratitude are already with you. You don't have to chase joy at the finish line. You can experience it on the journey. And that, right there, is the real wealth. The kind that never runs out, no matter what's in your bank account. Chapter 9. Wealth Habits, Systems that Make Success Automatic. Success isn't built on random bursts of motivation. It's built on systems. Daily, repeatable, disciplined actions that turn effort into excellence and dreams into results. Here's the truth. Wealthy people aren't smarter. They're not luckier. They're not even necessarily more talented. They're just more consistent. They understand something most people ignore, that habits create identity, and identity creates outcomes. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Think about it. A person who saves without discipline will always end up broke again. A person who earns without structure will always feel overwhelmed. A person who works hard without direction will always feel stuck. But someone who builds systems, who turns their mindset into a series of rituals, becomes unstoppable. Because when your habits work for you, success becomes automatic. So in this chapter, we're going to re-engineer your days the way the world's most consistent high performers do. Not through pressure, not through perfection, but through rhythm, daily repetition that compounds over time into effortless mastery. 1. Morning mastery. Control the start, control the day. The first hour of your day sets the frequency for everything that follows. If you start reactive, checking messages, scrolling through notifications, you immediately lose power. But if you start intentional, you program your brain for clarity and confidence. Every successful person I've studied, interviewed, or observed, from entrepreneurs to artists, guards their mornings like treasure. Why? Because mornings are the brain's prime time. Here's the simple formula. Mind, body, vision. Mind. Spend 10 minutes feeding your focus. Read something empowering, journal your goals, or listen to a short motivational piece. You're teaching your mind what to value. Body move. It doesn't have to be intense, stretching, walking, breathing. Physical movement activates your mental sharpness. Vision. Take 2 minutes to visualize your day going exactly as you want. See yourself executing calmly and confidently. You don't need 2 hours for a morning routine. You need intention. Consistency beats complexity. When you start your day as a leader of your time, the world responds accordingly. 2. The 1% wealth rule. Most people try to transform their life overnight. That's why they fail. High performers play a longer game. They aim for 1% better each day. It's called compound progress. A 1% improvement daily equals massive change yearly. Not because each step is huge, but because consistency multiplies. Here's how you apply it to wealth. Save 1% more each month. Invest 1% more into your education. Increase your productivity 1% weekly. It sounds small, but over time, it's unstoppable. When you improve your financial habits, even slightly, but consistently, your subconscious begins to shift. It stops associating growth with exhaustion and starts seeing it as normal. And that's the goal, to make success feel natural, not forced. 3. Energy budgeting, the new currency of wealth. We're taught to budget money, but not energy. Yet your energy determines your income far more than your bank balance ever could. Energy management means this. Spend your time and focus only on what multiplies value and eliminate what drains it. Make 3 lists today. Energy builders, people, activities, environments that recharge you. Energy drainers, those that leave you depleted anxious, or uninspired. Energy investments, actions that take effort now but create reward later. Then structure your day around those insights. Do your highest value work during your peak energy hours. Guard your creative energy like capital, because wasted energy equals wasted opportunity. The wealthy don't just manage money, they manage momentum. 4. Automatic success systems. The best systems don't rely on motivation, they rely on automation. Here's what that looks like. Automatic savings. Set up recurring transfers to your investment or savings accounts. Treat it like a bill you owe your future self. Calendar discipline. Block time for deep work and reflection. Non-negotiable focus hours. Habit triggers. Pair new habits with existing ones. For example, after you brush your teeth, review your goals for the day. Automation isn't about laziness, it's about freedom. Because the less mental energy you spend remembering to act right, the more energy you have for creative growth. Make success predictable by design, not by emotion. 5. The keystone habit, discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect in motion. When you commit to something and follow through, your brain learns to trust you. And that's the foundation of confidence. Start small, one promise at a time. Wake up when you say you will. Follow through on one meaningful task daily. Each kept promise strengthens your identity as someone who executes. That identity becomes your silent power. You no longer need motivation, you have momentum. And momentum builds wealth faster than intensity ever could. 6. The wealth routine blueprint. Here's a sample system you can model and adjust. Morning. Mind, body, vision routine, 15 minutes. Review top 3 priorities. Avoid social media until after your first victory of the day. Midday. Short break or gratitude reset. Handle your most analytical tasks when your brain is sharpest. Connect with someone who inspires or challenges you. Evening. Reflection. What worked? What didn't? What to improve? Small gratitude list. Plan tomorrow before sleeping. This structure doesn't trap you. It frees you. Because once your day has rhythm, chaos can't rule your mind. 7. Compounding consistency. The world rewards consistency more than brilliance. A brilliant person who's inconsistent will always lose to the average person who's disciplined. Think of habits as seeds. You may not see results immediately, but given time and care, they compound. Every workout, every book read, every dollar saved, every promise kept, they all stack quietly behind the scenes. Then one day, it looks like you suddenly succeeded, but you didn't. You just stayed consistent while others quit. Final thought. Habits make the human. You're what you repeatedly do. If you want wealth, build the habits of the wealthy. If you want peace, practice calm daily. If you want power, keep promises to yourself relentlessly. Success is not a sprint. It's the rhythm of repetition, discipline in motion. Because the truth is, you don't decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. Build systems that reflect the life you want. And the life you want will have no choice but to appear. That's the blueprint. That's the quiet power behind every person who seems lucky. They simply automated success, one habit at a time. Chapter 10. The Wealth Legacy. Building a life that outlives you. True wealth isn't measured by what you earn. It's measured by what remains after you're gone. Your ideas, your influence, the lives you've impacted. Every great life has 2 stories. The one that people tell about you, and the one that continues because of you. Building wealth is powerful, but building a legacy is immortal. This chapter isn't about money. It's about meaning. It's about turning your success into something that gives back, something that echoes beyond your lifetime. Because wealth without purpose eventually feels hollow. But purpose backed by wealth becomes unstoppable impact. 1. Redefine wealth. From possession to contribution. The world teaches us to accumulate cars, houses, numbers, things. But the real wealthy learn to circulate. Money sitting still dies. Money moving with purpose multiplies in value, in emotion, in energy. Redefine wealth as the ability to create positive change at will. That's what true power looks like. When you can take an idea and turn it into opportunity for others, you've reached the highest level of abundance. So start asking, how can my success serve someone else? How can I use what I've built to help others build too? That's when you move from rich to legendary. 2. The ripple effect of character. People may forget your business, but they'll never forget your character. It's the unseen currency that compounds forever. How you treat people when no one's watching. That's your invisible legacy. When you choose integrity over shortcuts, respect over arrogance, service over ego, you plant invisible seeds that bloom in other people's lives. The wealthy mindset isn't just about financial literacy. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about mastering how you handle power, not just how you earn it. Because influence without humility destroys, but influence with gratitude transforms. Your wealth becomes more meaningful when it reflects who you are, not just what you own. 3. Teach what you learn. The greatest gift of growth is sharing it. You don't have to be perfect to teach. You just have to be willing to help the person you once were. When you share your lessons, your failures, your journey, you turn personal growth into public transformation. Start small. Mentor one person who reminds you of where you began. Document your story in writing, in voice, in video. Create something that helps others rise faster than you did. Teaching multiplies your impact far beyond your reach, because every person you inspire carries a piece of your legacy forward. That's how legends are built, not by fortune, but by footprints. 4. Design a life worth remembering. Imagine someone years from now mentioning your name. What do you want them to feel? What do you want them to say? That's your life's design question. You can live reactively, just working, earning, and existing. Or you can live intentionally, designing your days around the values that matter most. Ask yourself, what will outlive me? Who am I empowering through my success? What systems, creations, or principles will I leave behind? When you live by design, you don't chase legacy, you become one. 5. Legacy through leadership. Every great wealth story ends the same way, with leadership, because leaders don't just accumulate, they activate. Leadership means taking responsibility not only for your results, but for your ripple. It means understanding that your influence can shape culture, families, and futures. The calm conquerors, the resilient minds, the disciplined achievers, all leave something behind, a new standard of possibility. When you lead from principle, you inspire others to live from purpose. And that ripple never ends. 6. Protect and multiply your impact. Legacy requires stewardship, intentional care over what you've built. Here's how to protect and extend your wealth and influence. Automate your impact. Create foundations, charities, or funds that operate beyond your daily presence. Document your philosophy. Write your lessons, record your principles, define your vision. Don't let your wisdom disappear with time. Empower your successors. Mentor the next generation. Teach them not just what to do, but how to think. Remember, wealth fades if it's only material. But when your mindset becomes your message, it multiplies across generations. 7. The circle of purpose. Every success story begins with hunger and ends with service. You start by wanting freedom, time, money, peace. Then you reach a point where you realize freedom alone isn't enough. The next level is fulfillment. Fulfillment comes from contribution, from using your wealth to create opportunities for others. That's the final secret, the circle of purpose. You rise, then you lift. You grow, then you give. You succeed, then you serve. And that's how you live forever, not through fame, but through impact. Final reflection. What will you leave behind? When your time is done, people won't remember how hard you worked. They'll remember how deeply you cared, how boldly you lived, how freely you gave. Your legacy isn't in your bank balance. It's in the hearts you've touched and the lives you've elevated. So go all in. Master your mind, multiply your wealth, and use it to build something that will outlast every headline and every trend. Because in the end, the richest person isn't the one who has the most. It's the one who leaves the most behind. This is your moment to become the author of a story that inspires generations. to turn your mindset into movement. To make your wealth mean something greater than yourself. That concludes Mind Over Money. Rewire your brain for wealth. You've learned how to think, act, and grow like the modern millionaire. Now, it's your turn to live it. Your future is waiting, not for luck, but for leadership. Go lead. Globe showing Europe, Africa dizzy.